how have the markets reacted to the news of this strike in Iran?
Casey, essentially the reaction is of fear and anxiety that there could be an all-out war and that that could lead to disrupted oil supply and therefore much higher inflation across the world. So let's take you through the figures, starting with the oil price. So you can see when we look at the commodity slide that Brent crude oil futures have absolutely jumped. So in percentage terms, it's up 12% in the last few hours. I don't remember a day where it's jumped this high in recent memory. So Brent crude oil at $77.4 US a barrel. That's the highest level in 5 months, and a 12% jump is the biggest I've seen in a very long time. So Iran being one of the world's major oil producers, so whenever there's any suggestion there could be disrupted supply, that tends to lead to oil prices spiking like we're seeing. So locally, you can certainly expect much higher petrol prices around the corner here. There's also a lot of demand for gold this afternoon, as you can see, which has jumped about 1.5%. So 1 ounce of gold is trading at $3,438 US an ounce, which is close to a record high. So as I mentioned, judging from those moves, you can see there's a bit of fear on the markets there. Now that's flowing through to the local share market, and today's best performing stocks are the oil and gas companies like Karoon Energy and Origin Energy. They're up very strongly, and gold miners too, with Newmont Corporation up 5.5%. On the flip side, this spike in geopolitical tensions has led to big falls in the share price of travel stocks like Qantas and Flight Centre. Now, all this has led to a pretty negative reaction for the broader share market. So the ASX 200 is down 0.2%, while the All Ords is doing a bit worse. So it's down 0.3%. Not very big falls, as you can see. But nevertheless, let's move to currencies where there's a even more extreme reaction. The Aussie dollar had quite a tumble. It fell down 1% at one stage, so it's recovered a bit, but it's now down to 64.8 US cents. So essentially, markets have taken a risk-off tone, Casey. So people are feeling quite pessimistic here. So the Aussie dollar tends to do quite poorly in this kind of environment. So people are flocking to safe haven assets like gold, which has spiked as we saw, and the Japanese yen, which is also doing quite well today. Now, let's move on to Asian markets where we're seeing yet more negative reaction. So Japan's Nikkei and Korea's Kospi are down 1.2%, while the Hang Seng and Shanghai Composite down 0.5%. And finally, it looks like it'll be a pretty ugly session on US markets tonight. So here's a preview of the trading activity that's being scheduled before Wall Street reopens for regular business hours. So futures contracts tied to the Dow Jones, S&P and NASDAQ have all fallen by around 1.5% each, which points to potentially a steep sell-off on Wall Street tonight. So there's a lot of negative there, Casey, and that's the latest in finance.
That is a lot of red triangles on those boards. David Chow, thanks for the update.